back. We have our guest, our first and only guest today, Miss Ellen G. Who's back for like
I think this is either the third or the fourth time.
I wasn't here last time, but I know I was here when we was at another station.
Yeah, she might have it right now. Yeah, I think so.
Wow.
Who got a record?
I think she got the record for the most, like,
Really?
time, yeah. Because if she's been here 4 times, I don't think nobody's been
No,
here.
you know who else might almost be there with her?
Who?
Calvin. 16.
He had 3.
Well, he don't be interviewed. He just be pop-ups.
No, he had 3, though, so she's at 4, I think.
Oh, we gotta get her an award or something.
Yeah.
I was like, hey, so I get a check?
I mean, when I get one, you get one, so I'm gonna let you know. I'll come back for that.
Our people will call you.
She does have a black business. She got a black business, so we can spend our dollars with her.
Yeah.
True.
Absolutely.
All right, so last time we saw you, well, I wasn't here, but you had an event coming up. So the event just passed, correct?
Does this smooth down? There we go. Okay. It was a meeting for the Black Money Matters project.
Okay.
I should be remembering this. I think it was either our second or it was our third meeting. And we were trying to clarify information about membership and answer questions for people because the movement has been progressing pretty evenly. I think the promo video is somewhere hovering around 6,000 views.
Oh, wow.
So, and that's just via Facebook because it's been emailed to people and it's on our website. And so, but yeah, so the meeting was to cover membership information and to answer questions for people to give them information about the project.
So if nobody caught when you were here, explain to us what the Black Money Matters is.
Absolutely. So the Black Money Matters project is an idea to create leverage economically for Black Americans initially. The idea behind it is to take money that we spend and use our excess of, I think right now we're sitting at around somewhere between 1.3 and 1.6 trillion dollars in spending power, and to take that money and redirect it back to our communities and spend your money with people who look like you, spend your money with businesses who align with your social, philosophical, and conscious beliefs, and that's the initial part of it. And one of the other parts of the Black Money Matters project is where we call for what we call an economic sanctions. It's a boycott from October the 1st, 2015 through April 30th, 2016. And so what that basically does is capture the holiday spending season. So it starts with Halloween. You have Thanksgiving, you have Black Friday, Christmas, New Year's, Valentine's Day, Easter, and the entire tax season. So
a lot.
So I've seen, especially last year, there's this wave of people saying, "Don't spend your money Black Friday, not one penny." And when I thought about it, I'm like, not spending your money on Black Friday is great, but okay, people just gonna go out and shop Saturday,
Right? Like
they're
that's
gonna go
one
out
day.
and shop. The Cyber Monday, they're gonna go out and shop. So what would happen?
Cyber Monday a little bit better anyway.
Right, exactly. And the day after Christmas. So what happens? What could happen economically in our culture, and when I say our, I mean African Americans and Black Americans. What would happen in our culture if we took that money and redirected it back to our own communities? And even a percentage of that 1.3 trillion, and I'm just saying 1.3 because that is a number that fell out of my mouth, but it's in excess of 1 trillion. What would happen if we took that money and saved it and invested it? So okay, you don't, instead of spending $300, for example, instead of spending $300 on your kids and toys for Christmas, what if you took that $300 and went and opened up a bank account at an African American owned bank, instead of taking out a loan to spend $800 on your children for Christmas, what if you took that money and invested in tutoring sessions, invested in piano lessons, like anything, something substantial that toys break, we go out, kids grow out of clothes. And instead of focusing on material things, focus on more practical gifts that help to sustain them.
Yeah.
So that's the premise. Someone had said to me, "Who are you to tell me how to spend my money?" Ooh. And I said, "That's a fair question. That's a legitimately fair question." My answer to that question is, I am your sister and one of your community partners. So we live in this community together, and the same way that I invest in my children, I would like, and I'm not telling people how to raise their children, but just practically speaking, $200 on a pair of shoes versus $200 for piano or guitar lessons. Something that your child could walk away with where they feel proud of themselves, they feel accomplished, and they've developed a skill that could potentially benefit them in some way in the future. So that's the idea behind the project, so the economic sanctions is project 1. 2015 is the rollout for it. The goal is for it to continue until whenever. Like, there's no end date for it.
I like that.
So where do you see the money actually going as far as the actual community? Do you see it rebuilding maybe homes? Do you see it rebuilding some of the stores?
So that's one of the goals of the project a little further down the line. Okay. The initial idea is to help people to understand that where you spend your money counts. Yeah. So in the African American, Black American community, when we get our money, we get paid on Friday. Our money, I think, on average, lasts in our community. I've heard
by Wednesday.
45. No, I've heard 45 minutes.
Ooh,
and the reason that it's 45 minutes is because most of the businesses that we go to in our community we don't own them. So you get paid Friday, you don't feel like cooking, you go to the corner store to get a chicken box. That person in that store doesn't look like you. Whereas in Asian communities, Hispanic communities, Jewish communities, their money bounces around anywhere from 7 to 14 times before it leaves their community, because they own their stores, they own businesses, and they don't have to leave their community to get a lot of the things that they need.
That's true.
I see that because I live in a predominantly Jewish neighborhood, so. And now that I said that when we first lived over there, but it's literally everything over there they own. Their family works there with them, and it's just it's like a take. Like you said, even with the Chinese people, like, not even trying to be funny, but we used to always joke like, okay, when you go get your nails done at a Chinese place, like grandma over there doing something, cousin over, like they keep it going, and they have more businesses and then more businesses, so.
And they can take the money and reinvest the money into their communities. They can take the money and spend it on initiatives that benefit their community. They can galvanize their dollars to help them speak politically. And they can galvanize their money to, instead of having the police tell them how they're going to police their community, they have enough economic power to be able to say, we'll call you when we need you.
Right.
We don't need you posted up in our communities. We're all right. And they hold themselves both responsible and accountable for the way that they act in their communities. So they essentially police themselves, which is a daunting task in the African American, and I'm going to say throughout the interview, I'm going to say African American / Black American community, for a number of reasons, systemic and racial reasons that are way more deep than a lot of us realize. Why we, at this point in time, can't police our own communities. But to speak to what you said, Dame, as far as developing stores and buying houses and co-ops and all of those things, that is an eventual goal, something that the Black Money Matters Project would like to address. Once we kind of get everybody on board and get them to understand that your money in America is the way that you speak. Like, that's how you get people to listen to you. It's not the only way, but it's because in this country, money talks.
It does.
Yeah,
So, yeah.
definitely does.
Now, I have a question. I need your opinion. So many people, and slightly still am one of those people. I definitely believe in trying to support Black businesses and things like that. But what is your opinion on many people feel like they don't want to support Black businesses because some don't know how to run their businesses?
Right.
Like, for instance, something that we can relate to, going to get our hair or something done. If you go to this place, they treat you certain type of way, timely, so-and-so wears African American or Black.
Right.
You go to a Black salon and it's just on their own time, how they so, but it's like, I don't want to spend my money, my hard-earned money, and you just feel like you're not taking, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, so that's one of the things that we thought about, and it's twofold, the way that we intend to address the situation, because it's an issue. It's an issue in our community where we want to spend our money with you, but either customer service is lacking, you might not have the products that we need, or for a number of other reasons. So one of the things that we plan to do with the Black Money Matters Project, once we get a comprehensive list of the African American owned, Black owned businesses in this immediate area, for example. When someone affiliated with the Black Money Matters Project, so say for example you become a member, you go into Shantae's store, and when you go into Shantae's store, you notice that one, the store is not as clean as you would like for it to be, and number two, the employees, they in the back, they cussing, they're not doing what they're supposed to do. So you come back to us and you report that to us. What we do is go to the store and let them know, a complaint has been filed, and what can we do to rectify this? So instead of, and we are discouraging people to go to social media, don't support that store anymore, because again, we're family, and you know how you say what happens in our house stays in our house. So instead of putting the business owner in a position to lose additional business, we're giving them an opportunity to correct themselves.
Makes sense.
And to be fair, and I know why we do it, but it's my own personal opinion about why we do it. But we go to hundreds of stores and don't get the service that we want from other people who don't look like us, but we'll continue to go to those stores. We'll complain, Walmart always got long lines every time I come in here, blah, blah, blah. But you'll go in there the next time you need something. And you won't tell everybody about it. You won't try to run the business into the ground. And so, like, part of that's one of the things that we want to address with the Black Money Matters Project is, number one, getting us to understand the reasons why, and they're not excuses, but the reasons why Black-owned businesses have some of the issues that they have, and two, getting the business owners to understand we want to give you our money.
And why does
we
it so
absolutely
important?
want to give you our money, but here are some of the barriers, and how can we work together to rid ourselves of these barriers so that we can keep our money flowing in our community.
Yeah, that is true, because I know I am one of those people that will be like, oh, I'm going on social media, I'm telling everybody, but I'm not biased with it.
Right.
I remember me and my husband went to Ruth Chris. I was pissed, and we put it on their page.
Right.
Something happened at Walmart. Like, I'm not, and I think for me, when you're in an industry where customer service is key, I teach customer service, stuff like it. Little things to me, I pay attention to.
Right.
And sometimes I'm trying to be, because I come from hospitality too. So sometimes, like, if we stay at a hotel, and my husband's in it too, so you try to be a little understanding because you work in it. But then some stuff, it's like, come
and some
on.
stuff you can't
let go.
And a lot of it has to do with, in my opinion, has to do with just training.
Yes, I totally agree.
We jump out there and don't understand business culture. And don't understand customer service, and don't understand, and it's not that we don't want to provide it, we just haven't been trained properly. So if I walk into a store and the cashier at the store is cussing and popping gum, then it's clear to me she doesn't understand that that's not how you conduct business.
Right.
Now, I am so sure that there will be some people, and I'm not anticipating a lot of people, but there will be some people who will resist and be like, "This is my store. You're not gonna tell me how to." Okay,
Right.
well then you understand what the ramifications are.
Because as a consumer, like, I'm trying to tell you on the opposite side
Exactly.
how it's making me feel.
Right.
And I'm sure you want some revenue.
Exactly,
So-
because you're not in business not to make money.
Exactly.
So yeah. So we do have plans to address that, and customer service training classes, making them available for business owners, and also having conversations with consumers so that we don't have unrealistic expectations
Of course.
of business
makes sense.
owners. Like, sometimes you are going to go in a store and they're not going to have what you need. It's not the end of the world.
Right,
Like,
it's
you do
okay.
not have to rip the store owner a new one because they didn't have. Now, if they consistently don't have what you need, that's a different story.
Right.
But we like to complain. Now I have what I need.
Right. That's
Every time
it's
I go
easier, and I think I saw this somewhere. I can't remember exactly what it was, but it was like it's so much easier for people to complain than to talk about anything good.
Yeah.
And
And to find solutions.
yep.
To find solutions. How can I help you so that you can have a successful business? What is it that you don't have right now that you need? Because I might be able to put you in contact with somebody.
Yeah.
You might need a distributor. You might need a delivery guy. Like, you might need anything. And that could, instead of focusing on the fact that you don't have it,
Right.
Let's work on
Work
how
have
on getting it.
solution-oriented
Yeah.
conversations
Yeah.
so that we all can. Because in the end, I want to spend my money with y'all. Like,
Yeah.
that's basically what it boils down to. I want to spend my money with y'all.
Yeah. And I agree with the I really, besides that, going a little bit back to what you were talking about as far as people saving money.
Mm-hmm.
So are you guys, so it's kind of sort of a two-part thing. So it's more so with the businesses and kind of telling people that, well, not telling people, but trying to help them
Coach
know
them along.
that saving money
Yes.
in
So
their
we'll
households
have
makes a difference.
like financial literacy classes and banking 101, understanding credit. And again, the Black Money Matters, like, we realize that this thing that we're setting out to do is absolutely daunting. Because the idea is for us to create an economic culture that sustains life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness for Black people.
I like
And that's a huge task.
that's a lot.
And there are all these huge pieces, and then there are all these real little pieces. So
In between.
and all in between. So yes, we definitely need financial literacy. We definitely need information about banking, information about credit, information, because I have a 23-year-old, and I remember when she turned either 18 or 19, I put her as a user on one of my credit cards because I want you to understand how credit works.
How that
And
go?
I called myself explaining it to her. I thought that I did a really good job. But even after several conversations of her running up the card and running up the balance, and she was like, well, I just thought that, you just swipe it and
pay on it later.
and pay on it. And I'm like, well, yes, but you have to pay off at least most of what you used the last
Not
time.
like, let me put 25 on
Yeah,
it.
you can't put $12 on it. Like, you can't. So, get
Right.
it. And so I have a bit of understanding of how it's not going to be one conversation.
Of course.
This is like constant conversations, constant dialogue about how credit works and about financial literacy and about
And
investing.
sometimes you don't learn till, because I was definitely one of those in college. Like, my mom always showed me when I was at least like 16, maybe a little bit sooner than that, how to, balance a checkbook
Right.
and things like that. And, when she would sit down and do bills, like, even though I'm like, I hate math, I'm not doing it. But it was like, all right, well, I knew how to do
Right.
it. So when I went to college, of course, it's like, okay, I'm going to do this. And now I taught you at least how to balance your checkbook.
Right.
Do that much.
Right.
Cool. Get a credit card.
You start
Y'all
balling.
want to?
Right.
Like, yeah, like, it got to the point where my mom took the card and then we canceled, and I had to work to pay it off.
Yes.
But what ended up happening is when that all got fixed up, she helped me clean my credit at that time. And what she did was we got a new credit card. Because, once that started looking good, credit card companies like, hey. And you have to learn, of course, at a young age, you don't know, do not just take all the, that's like bankruptcy and everything else. When stuff starts happening, they start advertising to you. So I had one credit card, but she kept it. So it's like, you have it in your name, you don't need it.
Right.
And I was like, what you mean? Like, but it still took
money.
me time later because people do not understand how serious and how important it is to have decent credit nowadays.
Yes.
Like, you don't. Like I said, even with me being taught that at a young age, you're going to make some mistakes. And like you said, you told your daughter over and over. My mom did the same thing. My dad did the same thing. I knew better. But then it wasn't until you start getting older and like when I got my own apartment or stuff I want and stuff I'm trying to do, I'm like, man, like, what's wrong with my credit?
Right.
Like, what you mean?
Right.
Like,
your APRs are like 27%.
Right.
You're like, wait a minute, hold up.
Right.
So if I miss a payment, I'm paying, like, so those kinds of things and understanding those kinds of things. Like just knowing that you're not supposed to utilize more than 30% of whatever credit you have. Something that basic. So I'm talking to my son, because I have a 20-year-old son. I'm talking to my son about, because he wants to start establishing credit. I'm like, all right, you're young, 20, it's a good time. You don't have any responsibilities outside of, right now, paying your cell phone bill and paying rent. So I'm explaining to him, you never, under any circumstances, use more than 30% of your credit. So he said, well, if I get a credit card and the balance is $100, I said, then you never spend more than $30. Just period. You spend it, you pay it off, and it's not $30 per transaction. It's $30. Period. Until your balance is back down to zero. So he was like, but that don't make sense. I said, credit is not. That's not income. That's not a pay. That's not the way that you look at it. And it took him a while to get it. So now he wants to buy a car. And I'm explaining to him about how credit is and how
payments, these percentages.
Exactly. Like all of that stuff. So like those are the things that my peers, 40-year-olds, we don't even understand. I have a homegirl who, and I see this with a lot of people that we think it's okay to just put something on it when we get a bill instead of paying the full bill, because there's a saying that it's easier to borrow what you need than it is to borrow what you want or something like that. And I'm like, no, if your bill comes and it's $225, just pay the $225. Right. And if you don't have it, then that should tell you something. Like that should start ringing bells with you. Like, how come I don't have enough money to pay my bills? So budgeting, because that's extremely important I'm talking about dealing with money. If your bills are $2,500 a month, but your income is only $2,600 a month,
you gotta make that work.
Right.
You don't understand why you always behind.
I had this conversation kind of sort of with this man today at my job. So I work in apartments, apartment communities. And this guy asked me today, older guy, like he had to at least be over like 60. And he was like, how much are your 1 bedrooms, your 2 bedrooms, blah, 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 the typical. And so when he asked me what he needed, and I was like, we need your pay stubs, any type of form of income that you can provide, blah, blah, blah. You got to make 3 times the income. Right. He was like, let me ask you a question. He was like, why do y'all ask that? He said, most places do. He said, whether it's a cheap place or a poor. I said, because if I'm not going to try to move you in here on an apartment and 30 days later you on my delinquency list.
Because your rent is 80% of your income.
And it was crazy to me because here I am, 30 years old, half his age, trying to explain. Because even after I said that, most people would be like, oh, okay, cool, I got you. He was like, but that don't, I was like, sir, let me tell you this. I said, if you show me your pay stubs, let's just say hypothetically, you bring in $900 a month and your rent is $1,100.
Right.
Yeah. What you gonna how?
How?
Like
so basically basically, you just gonna have an apartment. You're not gonna have any lights.
No.
You're not gonna
No
have to wash your clothes. You're not gonna have no food. You're not gonna have anything. You're just gonna have a
Right.
spot. So
I was really like, maybe he high, but he was like dead. Like, I'm trying to figure that out. I was like, really?
we
Like,
don't understand
people don't
money,
know.
and we
Like-
don't have the conversations about it. I understand not discussing how much money you make with strangers. I don't understand discussing how much money you make with your family. Like I don't get that. Growing up, I never knew how much money my mother made. Never.
Me neither.
I tell my kids, this is how much money I make annually. This is why I can't afford this. This is why I can't afford that.
And you know what? I grew up not knowing that either. I knew my dad, and my mom was like, my daddy rich, my mom, we cool. But I never knew how much. But it's funny because I have a sister that's 21, and my mom does that with her.
Yeah.
But I think because we're in different, like, my mom is more of a single parent with my sister, so with her being supported just by her, whereas like my dad and my mom did my college and all that. She wants her to understand, look, I'm busting my ass to get college, and this is what I make, this is what I bring home, this is the bill.
Exactly.
And I was like, dang, I didn't know that back then, like,
Yeah.
you know, and stuff like that, because even still, you kind of, like, I think when I got older, like, same thing, like, my mom invested in putting us in dance, whatever we wanted to do,
Right.
she gonna make it happen. I'm putting the money into it. Like,
Right.
cool, it'll be times I'm like, I got like 2 toys for Christmas. Like, what? But she's like, all that stuff this year that you wanted to do. And I'm like,
Exactly.
all right, you know, cool.
Yeah.
But at the same time, it was like, I still didn't know where the money was coming from,
Right.
how much it was. But then I did see, like, recently, I'm like, oh, she does it with my younger sister.
Yeah.
But I feel like now that you do have to do
You
that.
have to have
You
those
to.
conversations with your children, because if you don't, then they're going to grow up being financially illiterate, and they're going to make
A
just
lot of
regular
mistakes.
mistakes that people make when you don't understand money, when you're not comfortable having conversations about money. No, you don't run around and you say, oh, I make 50 G's a year and I do this and I can do that. Like, I get it, but your children, your spouse, because I know people who won't tell their spouse.
I know people like that too.
And I'm thinking to myself,
Like,
how?
how?
Yeah,
I'm
y'all got
right
it.
in your house.
How you?
Somebody I know something.
How do you not know?
How we paying bills?
Right. And granted, there are reasons why people don't do that, but I don't know that I could be in a relationship with a person and not know how much money they made.
Let alone I married you.
Yeah.
I'm in the house with you.
Right.
But I don't know what's in your pocket. No.
I
I know
understand.
everything.
I understand you not wanting. I understand some men and women not wanting to tell their significant others about their
Separate money.
separate money.
I know that.
Yeah,
but-
like I get that, but just in
Okay.
general, how much you make?
All right, so
Oh, snap,
So-
you came out of nowhere. I was like,
Like,
God.
where's the sexy voice coming from?
all right, so since we're having a serious conversation, I'll put on
Now you
my
gonna get serious one
my
time?
serious voice. Okay, so I have an answer here.
Oh, is that a Leo tat?
Yes, it is.
Okay. All right,
Yes,
Team
it is.
Leo. Team
All
Leo.
right, so
Now he wants to show it up.
My sister Leo, I like y'all. I like
since it's all Leo love. Okay, so in some instances, this is not the case for me, obviously, but some guys don't want to reveal that because they may feel uncomfortable with their lady making more than them.
Yep.
So they just kind of, I don't want to talk about that. You know what I mean? Just don't need to worry about how much I need to have on the rent, or you know what I mean, that kind of thing, because it's like an ego thing.
Okay.
But it shouldn't. Now that may make sense, but I feel like I guess it depends on people's households. Like if I'm the one that's paying our bills, obviously I need to know. Like I don't be like, oh, just give me 800 or oh, just give me this. Like no, like that's not we. My thing is, I don't know if it's because I was raised like that. We sitting down, we talking about these bills together. Bam, boom. This is what we got paid. Like I don't know. Like I know some people don't.
And,
I
you
get
know,
what you're saying, but it's like
So this is-
I've never and I've had some serious relationships. Women bring it up, they ask about it. I don't like to talk about it in the relationships that I've been in. I have not felt comfortable enough, even if the person was living with me, to divulge my total income to them.
Okay.
Now, if it was my wife, I've never been married, but if it was my wife,
That's
yes.
different, yeah.
But even a serious girlfriend, unless we're getting ready to get married, and I feel it's going to be at that point, why do you need to know how much money I make?
I agree.
You're trying to are you trying to count my pockets? Now you're trying to get pregnant? I mean, what is the reason why you know that?
Well,
You said you want a burger, I get you a burger.
For one, it's a security thing. So, if I make $2,500 a month and you make $1,000 a month, but our bills are $3,000 a month, I know that the bulk of the money from our bills is coming from me.
Yeah.
And if anything happens to you when you experience any kind of financial emergency, I know, and this has nothing to do with ego and you ain't a man and all that other stuff. Because I've always made more. Like when I was married, I made more than my husband. And I was comfortable with that. I didn't look at him like, oh, he less than me. That's not who I am. But
I can tell you like that.
You said you can tell.
I can tell that you like that, and it's all good. However, you're rare.
Okay.
You're rare.
I can accept that.
Especially in Baltimore, you're rare.
I can accept that. I don't know. I've never been the chick to be in a brother's pockets. I'm very financially independent. Very financially independent. Do I expect for you to pay for dates when we go out? Yes. Do I expect for you to pay? If we don't live together, no, I don't. You don't pay my car pay. You don't pay my car payment. You don't pay my insurance. You don't. I should be able to sustain my lifestyle with or without you.
And I agree.
Now, if you're gonna date someone, is that their income? Now you living your life and sustaining your lifestyle. You meet Dane. Let's pretend he was older, and you know what I mean. And you met him. You're going to factor in his income,
No.
or what you perceive to be his income as to whether you can date him or not.
I won't date somebody who is not able to provide for himself financially.
So in other words, somebody that's living off you.
You're not
Of
going to live
course.
off me.
Yeah, like.
Well, you have to be able to sustain yourself financially.
Makes sense.
So even if
If it ain't nothing to do with you,
Right.
like still you can take care of yourself.
as long as you can take care of yourself, to me that you qualify, that like puts you